So yesterday we started chapter 8, which was length in customary units. And you can call it US customary units if you want to, because we only use it here in the United States. Here in lesson 8.1, you were to use your inch squares that I included in your packet that you picked up on Monday to do some measuring. So if I use my inch squares to measure this, I notice that I have 3 color tiles. So this is 3 inches long. Do the same thing down here. And I have 4 color tiles. So this is 4 inches long. That's not very hard. That's pretty easy. So you were supposed to just do some measuring yesterday with your inch squares. Today, you are going to look at 547. Okay? That was 547 in your math book. Right? Now what you're going to do is you're going to use your inch squares to make a length and then trace along the edge to show the length. Okay? I actually have here at school, I have these little inch, they snap together. They're little inch worms that you can use to measure with. So those are kind of fun too. This snapping part isn't included in the length. So here where this says 2 inches, I'm just going to trace along the top where it shows 2 inches. And here where it says 3 inches, I'm going to trace along the top there. Okay. This is just to start giving you an idea of what 4 inches looks like, what 2 inches looks like, and what 3 inches looks like. And sometimes you'll see that people put lines at the end like this. That's just to make it a little bit easier to see the length. Okay. Now, if you move on to the back side, make sure your name is on this. You're going to look at 548. We're going to make a ruler today. Okay, again, that is 548. All right, we're going to do a ruler a little bit different than it shows us here. And what we're going to do is you're going to take out your strip of paper that was included in your math folder. And this is 12 inches long. This is exactly 1 foot. Okay? And what you're going to do is take your inch squares and you're going to make your own ruler with your inch squares. So I'm going to set this aside. And I'm going to put a little bit of glue on here. I'm going to start with the blue first so you can see easier. And I'm going to see just that much glue. And I'm going to line this right up with the very edge. Try to keep it straight. Okay? Now, you all have different colors of squares, and it does not matter what color you have. You're going to take your next square of a different color and stick that on right next to it, like this. We're going to make a pattern with our colors to make our ruler. going to go ahead and pause this while I finish up my ruler. Okay, so I finished making my ruler and I gave it a few minutes to dry a little bit, just so the squares weren't so wobbly. And if you got all of your squares nice and straight, it should have lined up on your piece of paper perfectly. And you should have used 12 squares. There are 12 inches in a foot, and this is a foot. You can see here that in my little inchworm ruler, it lines up just perfectly. I also have another inchworm ruler that looks like this with 12 inches. And then finally this ruler that I put in your box. This is an inch ruler, US customary system, and you can see that the inch lines line up as well. Oh, you're going to use your ruler to measure today. So let's start on 548. And sometimes rulers have this little spot here I call it the tricky spot. And we'll talk a lot more about this, but there's this little spot sometimes before the line starts. And you have to make sure you line up what you're measuring with this first line. However, on our ruler, we lined it up right with the edge, so we don't need to worry about a tricky spot. So go ahead and do your measuring. Okay, so this would be 1 to 4 inches long. Measuring here. So do all your measuring. And then you're going to move on to 549. Okay, that's page 549. And you're going to do your measuring here. Now on the back it says to work with a classmate to use both of your rulers. I know since you can't work with a classmate, all right, you can use the ruler you made and the ruler here to measure something in your house. I know you probably don't have a bulletin board, but you can measure a window or you can measure something else. Just cross this out and put down what you measured. Okay, now if you have a length that's longer than your ruler, okay, what you can do is take and set your ruler. So measure, if you're measuring something, set your ruler down. Put your finger here as a placeholder and then move your ruler like that, okay? And then move your finger over here as a placeholder. And that's how you can measure things that are bigger than the length of your ruler. All right. Go ahead and finish this. Just read this really carefully. Okay. I do want you to do 551 and 552 because there's a couple of good review things on the back here. Okay, it says use your ruler for this one. Measure the width of this paper in inches. This is going to be the width from here to here. So if we measure this, all right, we can see that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 inches. All right, but if I measure another piece of paper, a standard size piece of paper, you're going to see that it's halfway between an inch. So when this happens, okay, when it's halfway or more, something you're measuring is halfway or more, you go up to the next one. So I'd say this is 9 inches. All right. But for your math paper is exactly 8 inches, which is kind of nice. Okay. I'll let you do this on your own. Answer 5 in a complete sentence. Okay. It says, would you rather use color tiles or your ruler to measure the length of an object? So your sentence starter is going to be, I would rather use, and go on. So again, that's going to be I would rather use a blank because, and that's going to explain your choice. I'm going to say that one more time. I would rather use blank, fill in what you'd rather use, because, and finish the sentence. Make sure that you start with a capital letter and end with a period. On the back, we've got a good review of time, money. I think we have addition. Yes, addition with regrouping here. And then we have a review of arrays and multiplication. I want you with this to write the addition number sentence and the multiplication number sentence that goes with this picture. And I want you to draw it. Okay, draw this array, write the addition number sentence and the multiplication number sentence that goes with number 5. Okay, I know I went through this really quickly because I can only make a video that's 15 minutes long. So what you can do is if I went too fast, you just hit pause, and then when you're ready to go again, then hit play. All right. I hope that was helpful. I will talk to you later. Bye.